previous video we covered a great deal of things, and in today's video we are going to cover some other important things which are very important in Python and in codings. So let's talk about numbers. Numbers are used quite often in programming to keep score in games, represent data in visualizations, store information in web applications, and so on. Python treats numbers in several different ways depending on how they are being used. Let's first look at how Python manages integers, because integers are very important in codings, in mathematics, instead. So let's look at integers and how do they work, how can we add integers. Now let's look at integers, and you can use the hash command, the hashtag, to add comments, and it is useful because it is used for description, right? So if you want to explain to someone what you are writing about, and the person doesn't understand about the coding, so you write the hashtag and you explain it before you type the coding, so it simplifies things. Now how can we add, subtract, multiply and divide integers in Python? To add two numbers, let's suppose if you want to add two numbers, then you just have to add 2 plus 3. Let's suppose you want to add 2 plus 3, you just have to add enter, and you just have to run. You're gonna get 5. Let's say that you add 10 plus 7 and 6 and 8, whatever. You can see that you are going to get these sort of things. Now how can you separate things, which is also easy. You just have to put the subtractions, and you can see here you just have to run and you will get the answer. Now let's see how can you do the multiplication. So to multiply you have to use the static, and you just get the desired output. And for division you just need to use the this command, and you get all you need to do. Okay, so let me write what command you need to use for multiplication, addition and subtraction. You can add with the help of plus, subtract with the help of minus, multiply the help of static, and you can divide with the help of this command. Integers in Python. Okay, these you need to remember these 4 things for multiplication, addition, subtraction and division. And if you want to use to the power, like 2 to the power 3, 4 to the 5, 4 to the power 6, but these sort of things you need to add something else that I'm going to explain to you. Let me put it above so that in case you want to save, then you don't get confused. Now if you want to add 3 to the power something, so for that you use double static, and you just run, and you get 3 3s are 9, or 2 2s are 4, right? So you need to use double static. For power use double static. Okay. In terminalization, Python simply returns the result of the operation. Python uses 2 multiplication symbols to represent exponents, so you need to remember this. Python supports the order of operations too, so you can use multiple operations in one expression. You can also use parentheses to modify the order of operation, so Python can evaluate your expression in the order you specify. Okay, let me give an example. Let's suppose that let me show you how Python can let me just restart it. Okay, let me show you how Python manages balances the order, like you add 2 plus 3 and you want to add it to the power 4 or 5 or whatever, you get 625. Now if you add 2 plus 3 to the power 4, then what you get? You get 83. Okay, so here Python, the power 4 is multiplied to 3 to the power 4 is taken and then added with 2. Here 2 plus 3 is added and then the power is multiplied. So you need to remember these things, that these brackets, these sort of things, in which order you put the digits, you will get that sort of things. So I hope it is easy and simple, and let me write this for you, that Python supports Python supports the order of operation. You need to remember these things. I'm writing for you in the comments so that you don't get confused. Now let's talk about floats. Python calls any number. Python calls any number with a decimal point a float. So any number which has a decimal point is called a float. This term is used in most programming languages, and it refers to the fact that a decimal point can appear at any position in a number. Every programming language must be carefully designed to properly manage decimal numbers, so numbers behave appropriately no matter where the decimal point appears. So let me put it here above so that you understand what we covered in this video. Okay, now let me give an example. For the most part, you can use decimals without worrying about how they behave. Simply enter the numbers you want to use, and Python will most likely do what they expect. For example, let me add 0.1 plus 0.2. Let's see what happens. You get 0.34, so you get a float here, 0.4. Now this is a float. Here you like 0.1 plus 0.2 is usually 0.3, but we get this 0.4. Now let me write 0.2, 0.1. So what happens? You get 0.2, and this is what we expected. Now let's write 0.2 plus 0.2. You get 0.4. Now let me write 0.2 multiply by 0.2. You get what? You get 0.4001. You also get a float here, right? This is this extra 0.1. But be aware that you can sometimes get an arbitrary number of decimal places in your answer, and this is the arbitrary number 0.1 in this case. Let me show you. In this case 0.04. These are arbitrary numbers. This is of a constant, like it doesn't affect the calculation that much, but it is of a concern to mathematician, to statistician, to everyone. So there are ways for that we'll cover later, and how we can deal with such situations. Let me write 0.2 plus 0.1. You get this, or you multiply 0.3, you just multiply 3 with. It's not necessary that you get the arbitrary number with every calculation, but sometimes you do. Here also you get the arbitrary number 0.4. This happens in all languages and is of little concern. Python tries to find a way to represent the result as precisely as possible, which is sometimes difficult given how computers have to represent numbers internally. Just ignore the extra decimal places for now. You will learn ways to deal with the extra places when when I float next videos. You will understand. Now let's talk about integers and floats. Okay, now let's talk about integers and floats. When you divide any two numbers, even if they are integers, that result in a whole number, you will always get a float. Let me divide 4 by 2, and you will see that if I run it, you will see that you will get a float. You will get it in decimal point, so it is of no concern. If you mix an integer and a float in any other operation, you will get a float as well. Let's say that you just add a float with it. I already explained what is a float. Python calls any number with a decimal point a float. So if you add it, you will get a float 3.0. So you will get this decimal with it. And if you multiply 2 multiply by 3.0, you will also get a float 6.0. Now let me write it here again. If you take it to the power, if you add a float with it, you will still get a float. So you need to learn these things, and you need to be aware of the concept. Python defaults to float in any operation. You need to remember that Python defaults to float in any operation that uses a float, even if the output is a whole number. So the underscores in numbers, this is also an important concept that you need to know. I hope the concept of float is clear to you. When you're writing long numbers, you can group digits using underscores to make large numbers more readable. Let me write a number. Let's say that you have a number. Let's say that you write universe h, okay, and you represent it as 14 000, and then again underscore 000, and then again 000, okay. And what Python will do is that Python will ignore the underscores when you print it, like print the number. So what is the variable? The variable is universe age. Now if you run it, you will see that the underscore will be ignored. You will just get the number without underscore. So you need to remember that Python ignores the underscores when storing these kinds of values. Even if you don't group the digits in threes, the value will still be unaffected. To Python, 1000 is the same as 1 underscore and 3 zeros, which is the same as 10 underscore 3 zeros. So for Python, let's suppose that all these are the same thing. To Python, all this is you can write it in many ways. If you write it like this, so for Python it's all the same, it is just 1000, okay. So you need to remember these sort of things, that why underscore is used, and does it affect the number? No, it doesn't affect the number at all. Now let's talk about multiple assignments. Sometimes you can add many things at a time, assign multiple values to multiple variables in a line, and it's really important. You can assign values to more than one variable using just a single line, and this can help shorten your programs to make them easier to read. You will use this technique most often when initializing a set of numbers. Let me write an example for you. Let's suppose that I have 4 variables x, y, z, and let's suppose w, and I assign values to them as 0, 1, 2, 3, because I have 4 variables. Okay, now let me run it so I can see what happens. Now if I run the code, you will see that. Now let me print it so you can see what happens. X, y, z, w, and you will see that you can get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to remember that you can assign multiple values in a single row, and it will help you. It will help you convey your message in a more simpler and better way. Now let's talk about constants, and constants are very important. Sometimes you need to just fix certain value in your programming. So constant is like a variable whose values stay the same throughout the life of a program. Let me write the definition for you so that you don't forget it. Constant is like like a variable whose value is stays the same throughout the life of a program. Now let me give you an example. Python doesn't have built-in constant types, you need to remember this, but Python programmers use all capital letters to indicate a variable should be treated as a constant and never be changed. So if you want to represent a certain number as constant, you need to use capital letters for it, like max, connections, and you just have to assign it any value that you want to assign, and this value will be used as a constant throughout the programming. You just have to call the variable. So you need to understand the importance of constant in your programming. Okay, let me give you a short quiz, and I hope it will not be that difficult. Okay, you write addition, subtraction, number 8. Write addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division operations that each result in the number 8. So it is a very easy quiz. It is a very easy assignment, and be sure to enclose your operations and print calls to the results. You should create 4 lines that look like print 5 plus 3, something like this. So you need to try this for yourself. Okay, the second thing that you need to do is that you use a variable to represent your favorite number, and then using that variable create a message that reveals your favorite number and friend that message. Okay, so do this and show it to me in the comment section, and I will tell you if it is correct or not, and I will make the correction if necessary. Okay, now let's talk about comments in Python. How can you add comments? Okay, so in Python we use the hashtag to add comments in the Python. Comments are an extremely useful feature in most programming languages. Everything you have written in your program so far is Python code. As your programs become longer and more complicated, with time you should add notes within your programs that describe your overall approach to the problem you're solving. And it is very important if you're going to send your programming to other users, other people. So a comment allows you to write notes in English within your programs, okay, or any other language that you are using. So how do you write comments in Python? The hash mark is used. To add comments. Anything following a hash mark in your code is ignored by Python interpreter. For example, let me say that hey there. Okay, so I have used hashtag here. So, and if I let me also ignore this one. Now if I add print print hey there. Now Python will ignore the first line and it will just print the second line. Hey there boys, hey there boys. You can see that the first line is being ignored and the second line is being run, and the reason is that why the first line is being ignored is that because we have added it as a comment section by using the hash mark. So you need to understand the importance of comments and how can you add comments. Now let's come to a very important and very interesting topic, which is introducing list. Lists are very important, especially when you're working on website or any other things that involve certain things that you need to put forward. So lists allow you to store sets of information in one place, whether you have just a few items or millions of items. Lists are one of Python's most powerful features, readily accessible to new programmers, and they tie together many important concepts in programming. So what is a list? Let me just define it for you. A list is a collection of items in a particular order, and you can make a list that includes the letters of the alphabet, the digits from 0 to 9, or the names of all the people in your family. You can put anything you want into the list. In Python, square brackets are used to indicate a list, and individual elements in the list are separated by commas. Here is a simple example of a list that contains a new kinds of let's say bicycles, or you can add a list of flowers or people, or let me add the list of people. So names. Okay, I'm going to invite certain people to a party, so let me add names. Amla, let me add names, so it must be written like this: Amla and Zainab, Wajid and and Kohli, and you can add as many names as you want to. It depends on the list, it depends on the people. Okay, so let me say that these are my favorite people that I want to invite. So what I can do to print the list is just call the name of the variable that I have used, names, and I just have to print it, and see, you can see that there is a problem. And can you tell me where is the problem? The problem is here, because I use quotes here. So if I run it now, you can see that it is the list is being displayed. Now let's learn about accessing elements in a list. How can you call specific names in a list? How can you remove certain elements in a list? How can you add more elements in a list, and things like that. And believe me, it's very easy, it's not difficult. So stay in touch with me and we are going to call it together. Lists are order collection, so you can access any element in a list by telling Python the position or index of the item desired. To access an element in a list, write the name of the list followed by the index of the item enclosed in square brackets. For example, let me call out the first name here. So let me call out the first name here. Let's say that I want to print just amla, so how can I specify it? To specify it, I will just add 0. Okay, I will use these brackets and then put 0. You should remember that in Python the list start from 0, so this is 0, this is 1, Zainab is in the for 1 position, Wad is second, and Kohli is in 3rd position. So if you run it, you can see that only just Amla is now if you add specify the position is 1, you get Zainab. If you specify the position is 3, you get Kohli. Okay, so it's very important and very interesting. And if you add -1, still you will add Kohli. And if you add -2, still you will add get Wajid. So from the right side you could use the negative numbers -1, -2, -3, -4, and from the left side, from left to right, you should start from 0. So you need to remember these things. It's not that difficult, it's easy and quite interesting. One more important thing that you need to learn is that let me paste it here, and if I just write amla is in small, if I want to call amla, and amla is you can see that is written in small alphabets. So if I want to write it as a title, then you can see that the first letter will be capitalized. Okay, if I want to write it in upper cases, these commands are already covered in my previous videos. You must watch them, and if you don't watch them, then it might be a little bit difficult for you to understand the lower command, the upper command, the title. So go and must watch a video first that I uploaded, and I will also include it. I will also include the link in this video of the previous video, so that you could follow the chain. You could see it in lower, all the things are written in lower. Let me write it again. You can see it, and if you use the lower command, it doesn't matter how the word is written, whether in capital letters or small letters, or whether some alphabets are small, some are capitalized. All the in the output, the word will be displayed as in small alphabets. So you need to understand this concept as well. Okay, accessing elements in a set is really important, and you need to understand it. So step by step we are going to cover together and learn a lot of things, and I hope you are learning with me and I'm learning from you. The beautiful thing that I want to tell you is that I have started it from scratch, so anyone can understand it, like from very basics, and I'm going towards advanced steps. So stay in touch and learn with me.